Hey guys, I hope you're having a really good start to your holiday weekend, and I am here to present on the case of Shane Margo. So I guess let's get started. Shane Margo is a 14-year-old white male who presents to his psychiatric appointment today with his mother, Miss Margo, with a chief complaint of deficit of emotional self-regulation with recent legal charges of arson, breaking and entering, and felony property damage. It was recently advised by the family attorney that Shane seek psychiatric services, although Shane verbalized that he did not want to come to the appointment today and that he was pressured by his mother to be at the appointment today. Shane's family psychiatric history includes mom with depression and anxiety, and dad with an early onset diagnosis of alcoholism, as well as anxiety. Shane has no psychiatric history. He has never been diagnosed with any sort of disorders. And Shane has never been hospitalized for any reason except for when he was an infant for a heart condition that was resolved and was an isolated incident. Shane has no known drug allergies, and he does not smoke cigarettes or use any illegal substances. As far as we know, although there was no urinary drug screen completed at today's appointment. Shane did not verbalize that he had any concerns about his physical health today, and upon the mental status exam, he was dressed appropriately. He was fairly groomed with good hygiene. He had avoidant eye contact and was uncooperative, but to my knowledge, his focus was intact. He had pretty good concentration. He did not report paranoia, delusional thoughts, visual or auditory hallucinations. He did not appear to be responding to internal stimulus. He presented with fair judgment and intellect. He was oriented ×4. There were no concerns about his memory. He had good gait, and there just was no indication that there was a serious physical health concern. So upon asking Shane about his social history, we learned that when Shane was younger, he had a fairly healthy and happy home life. When Shane was 5 years old, his mother had twins. He has 2 sisters. When Shane was 9 years old, one of the twins, had passed away in a car accident that was unexpected, obviously, and that affected Shane quite a bit. So when Shane was 9, and all of this kind of started going on at home, mom and dad had a hard time dealing with the death of their daughter. They started to argue a lot. There was a lot of isolation throughout the home. Dad eventually ended up moving to Lufert, Oregon, and they stayed in Grove Park. So right around 11 years old, so right after Dad had separated from the family, Shane started presenting with issues of truancy, deceit. He was lying to his mom, just fabricating stories about like homework assignments and things that he did at school that day when in fact he was not even attending school. Mom reports that when Shane turned 13, they thought things were starting to get better. Mom and Dad started to reconcile, and eventually Mom was moved back in with Dad in Luford, Oregon. And so right around 13 years of age, Shane switched back to, or switched schools when he was 13. And that's when things really started to get out of hand, according to Mom. She stated to the provider that Shane started to hang out with a bad group of kids and just was consistently getting worse and worse, showing lack of remorse, lack of guilt, just very unconcerned about his social status, about his productivity and meeting social norms. And it has not, there's not ever been a period of time where things have gotten better since Shane has turned 13. So after all of this information was taken into consideration, we look at disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders in the DSM-5, which includes oppositional defiant disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, conduct disorder. Antisocial personality disorder is mentioned, although it is listed under a different section of the DSM-5. Pyromania, kleptomania, and other specified disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders, and unspecified disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. For Shane's particular case, we know that antisocial personality disorder needs to be ruled out because he's not 18 yet, although it does seem promising that if Shane does not get help for the problems that he presents with, he may end up with that diagnosis. He does not qualify for pyromania or kleptomania, and although he could qualify for oppositional defiant disorder, the provider decides that conduct disorder is the most appropriate diagnosis because a repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior in which the basic rights of others or major age-appropriate societal norms or rules are violated, as manifested by the presence of at least 3 of the following 15 criteria in the past 12 months. From any of the categories below, if you look through the categories that are presented, Shane meets most of the categories. So it says that a person must often bully, threaten, or intimidate others. He is definitely known to be intimidating towards others. He has initiated a physical fight. Although the fight did not get physical, he initiated it. Shane reports that he's never used a weapon, and that he has never been physically cruel to people, although he does report physical cruelty to animals, a cat. There's definitely been destruction of property, there's been deceitfulness and theft, and other serious violations of rules, such as the truancy beginning at age 11. At the end of the section that reports on conduct disorder, it wants us to specify whether it was a child onset type, adolescent onset type, or unspecified. In Shane's case, it would most definitely be an adolescent onset type. Individuals show no symptom characteristics of conduct disorder prior to age 10 years old. And then it also would like you to specify if with limited prosocial emotions. So if somebody has this specifier, they show a general lack of remorse or guilt, they are callous and lack general empathy, they're unconcerned about their performance, and they show shallow or deficit affect. In Shane's case, this would be something that would be indicated by the way that he's presenting at the appointment. And for the current severity to be specified, it wants you to pick mild, moderate, or severe. In Shane's case, I would definitely say that this is at least moderate. The number of conduct problems and the effect on others are intermediate between those specified in mild and those in severe. Although Shane does present with some conduct problems that would make me believe that this could be a severe case of conduct disorder, particularly the cruelty to the cat and the breaking and entering. So that is the diagnosis that I am going to go with for Shane. My recommendation would be that he continue to seek psychiatric services as well as psychotherapy and possibly family therapy, and I would want to check back with him often. Also, I would like to make a note that Shane did not report any inclination of suicide ideation or homicidal ideation at the appointment. Okay, well, if you guys got questions for me, let me know. I'm excited to see what you have to say, and I will get back to y'all. Thanks.